we're gonna go to... Let's see.
We need to do that.
We're gonna go here. Because while Maddie and Aang were in the tree sleeping, or one of them was sleeping, the other was keeping watch, Paige, you were pulled aside by a stranger with red hair. Let me go here.
Ah, shit, you remembered.
Bro. So, you are strolling into the woods. It's in the middle of the night, and it's quite cold. Excuse me. You walk in about... how far away from camp do you think you get before you kind of stop and you're like, I don't know about this?
I mean, she just woke up from that fucked up nightmare.
Uh-huh.
Probably slipped on just her boots, has her blanket. So she probably got until, like a stone's throw from the edge of camp. So, like, a good, like, 20, 30 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Before she looks
Okay.
back, pausing.
You look back and look over your shoulder at the camp. You don't notice anything behind you. It seems safe. Camp seems like still decently close. You don't feel any sort of nervousness or not nervousness. You don't feel any like shiver up the back of your neck, like something bad is gonna happen. You actually feel quite like almost like things are suspended right now. There's no snowfall, there's no real wind.
Well, if she doesn't feel any danger, she will hike up the little blanket some more. Poncho time. And she's going to take a deep breath before she turns and just continues.
Okay. So you walk another good 30-ish feet. At this point, you're far enough outside of camp that as you are walking, you don't have to roll a perception check for this because you're kind of high alert right now. And as you are making your way down into the woods, yes, you hear the crunch of feet like in snow beside you. And as you like you hear this like all of a sudden, not like somebody dropped in, but like now all of a sudden they're walking right beside you like they have been by your side this whole time.
Paige slows down her walk a little bit, but she doesn't stop. But she will glance in the direction.
Okay. You glance up at this person. Beside you, you see a it's hard to say young, but he doesn't have any outward signs of age on his face. There's not a lot of wrinkles or any sort of scars or pockmarks. He seems young in that way, in that he's unblemished on the face, and he has orange hair that is just long enough to come down and almost like cascade over his shoulders. It kind of dances around the edge of his shoulders. And it's long, straight orange hair. He's wearing a brown, like woolen coat. He's very primly dressed. This is not like hiking attire. This is a person who kind of just. This is someone you could easily see walking around a city in Termarkt, like with their nice clothing and their kind of fancy attire, a woolen coat, like a pea coat, well-groomed hair, well-kept like complexion, and he doesn't have any facial hair, mind you. He's perfectly cleanly shaven. He has very sharp features. He looks kind of out of the corner of his eye, and very casually raises an eyebrow, and not in like a "what are you doing" sort of eyebrow raise, but in like if kind of half acknowledging your presence. But he continues walking with you, and he will do so until you decide to stop.
She probably, again, no like alarm bells, right?
Mm-mm.
Other than the obvious.
Yeah, other than the obvious one of just this stranger who knows you and who showed up in your dream, other than like those very weird alarm bells, he does not seem to exude any sort of threatening energy.
Okay. Then she'll keep walking for another few minutes, probably until they reach maybe like a fallen tree.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, you walk all the way out until you can find like a nice felled tree.
That she probably just like brushes snow off of and just sits down.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I'm going to activate a scene. And it may take some time to load.
Probably.
Here we go. 80%. Everybody brace.
Shut up, it's fine.
Slightly better than last time.
Oh.
I'm stuck at 98%.
Yeah,
Hey,
98.
98%. Let's go.
We're hoping. Do this. So you walk out and find a nice little tree to kind of set up on. It's quite dark. Now, I don't know what you chose for Paige in terms of her like ancestry and heritage and whatever. Does Paige have dark vision?
She has low light vision.
Low light vision. Okay. That's good enough. You can see enough of where you're going without any like visible light source that you're not at risk for tripping or stumbling. There's something that you do notice about this man, though. As you kind of dust off a spot on the tree and plop yourself down to sit, his eyes, they don't glow. They're not like casting light out of them, but they absorb a lot of light, and they seem to stand out against the darkness really, really well. Like his eyes are like if you could imagine seeing them in a completely opaque dark bush, and it would look like Predator Cat in like a cartoon where the eyes are just floating in darkness. But he, like, staring straight on, that his eyes have a yellow tint to the iris. It's kind of like honey colored eyes. And he just, once you sit and find yourself in like a comfortable spot, he gives you a wry smile, and he'll he doesn't have a hat, but he will pantomime as though he does and tip it forward. Pardon my coughing. But he tips his imaginary hat and will say like, "Well, how do you do there, ma'am?"
Paige doesn't react much. She probably gives a very slight nod to his greeting. Probably like bundles herself further in her little blanket poncho. Who are you?
Oh, well. I've been known by a lot of names. You can, for the sake of ease, you can refer to me as, Mr. Tall Tales. That's a good one.
Hello?
So, you probably don't. I don't know if you're aware much of me, if you were told any legends or stories at all. I assume you must have been told something. Kind of looks expectantly like, well,
Well, Joe, has she?
no,
Okay.
total stranger. Never heard of him in your life.
Stranger.
What did he say his name was again? Really fast.
Mr. Tall Tales.
Mr. Telltales. Okay.
Mr. Talltales. Why does that name give me fucking Babadook vibes?
See, the description immediately makes me think of Artie from Critical Role.
He is a little arty from Critical Role. But he's it's also worth noting he said you can call me Mr. Tall Tales.
Mm-hmm. Call me. Paige is like, you can call me a liar. It's like, okay, I see. Paige just looks at him, and she just one shake of the head.
He looks a little confused. He like tilts his head a little bit and is just like, nothing. Not like a story or, you know, maybe like a ballad or a poem. Your grandpappy didn't tell you much at all about old. And he like does a hand of like a hand spinning gesture, like you would know the name that goes with all something.
I think her eyes kind of like sharpen and focus when he mentions the grandpappy. She kind of like turns more towards him, kind of bundling further. Wait, what do you mean, like, did you know him?
Did I know you? And he holds up a hand. He just goes, You don't know me. Even by name, you.
Not
Nothing?
a little. I'm very sorry, but no else. Not one.
He kind of he was leaning forward a little bit as he was kind of getting more flustered, and then he touches himself and sits up, and he kind of steeples his fingers, and he just goes, "Well, that does put a damper on the start to our little relationship. So, to save you a very long story, I was a, well, let's just say, working associate with your grandpappy. And he and I, well, we got along well. We had a mutual arrangement. And, well, by rights, and he gestures to you, you have inherited the remnants of that relationship. And go ahead and make me a perception check, Paige.
Okie dokie. Oh shit! I almost dropped my fucking dice box.
Good catch.
Whew. Fast as fuck, we. That's gonna be a bunny.
It's a nat 20.
I don't know what that
It's a
means.
nat 20.
Oh, a nat 20?
Holy shit.
Okay,
No
so
fucking way. 2 days in a row, first rolls.
I mean, if you want to re-roll it, you can. It
No,
doesn't
thank
have to
you.
be a nat 20.
No,
So,
I'll keep it. That's gonna be up 20 fucking, what was it?
Perception.
7?
perception 27.
Yeah, 27.
Okay, so with a 27, you can tell that this dude's very carefully preening his words. He is racking his brain. He's racking the mental thesaurus to choose certain words over others. And he like in that moment after he says like you've inherited the remnants of the working relationship, he holds a hand out to you almost like a shake, like he's asking for your hand to shake, and he just goes, so I suppose that now that you're very much aware of our working relationship, you would like to be taken on a tour of your proverbial benefits.
She looks at him, looks down at the hand, and she kind of straightens up a bit. Like, I think I need more information before I make handshake. What was this agreement you had?
Oh, this arrangement that you and or that me and your grandpappy made, nothing big. Really just,
Oh, you can tell me then.
oh, well, I could. But you see, it's quite late, and I've already kept you up for far longer than you need. It's
I'm
not
not
like me
going
to
to
take a
sleep.
young person's beauty sleep away from them.
Tell me.
Good.
He holds up both hands, and he looks like he's a little bit caught in a trap for a second. He just goes, now, I'd just like to clarify. We are, and he gestures, like, kind of gestures around broadly to the woods. He's like, we are in the woods here. And you should know, just like any good young boy and girl would know, looking out to the woods from Termarkt, there's a lot of dangerous things in here. And I mean a lot.
Yes, I am aware.
So, you might be right suspicious of me, I imagine. And he puts both hands, like, to his chest, as if to say, like, me.
Well, I'm not stupid.
No, of course not. You can't be stupid. Nobody who makes a deal with me is ever
I
stupid.
haven't made a deal yet, so
He just kind of smiles. He's like, well, that's true. We need points to you and him and to you and him again. Haven't made a deal. But your grandpappy and I did. And again, inheritance, the benefits, yada yada. I'm sure you get the gist of it. And he does like a flipping gesture, like he is spinning his hand over and over. And you're really good with sleight of hand, Paige, and you watch his, like, you're kind of like narrowed in on his hands, but you, as perceptive as you are and as prepared and like suspicious of him as you are, you can't see where the sleight of hand happens, but he waves his hand, and the top hat, your top hat, just shows up from after he flips his hand once and again, and just has it between his thumb and forefinger and plops it on his own head.
her eyes very, very slightly narrow.
So before I go spilling the beans on all the contractual obligations that were made between your grandpappy and me, I think it would be probably in both of our best interests if I established trust and tried to build rapport between myself and you. Don't you agree?
Kit, is there insight in this fucking system?
Yeah,
Sense motive?
Sense motive is a perception check.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'd like to do that, please.
Yes, that. So go ahead and roll me a perception check.
That's going to be a 21.
21. Let's see. So with a sense motive on a 21, you can get that he does want to gain your trust. That is very, very true. He absolutely wants you to trust him. He is absurdly cagey for reasons you cannot pin down, and he knows more than he says about you, possibly about your grandfather, possibly about a lot of things.
Okay. Well, he hasn't given off fucking more like alarm bells of like danger, right?
You roll me an occult check.
What? A cult? Okay.
Your occult check.
Occultism?
Yeah.
It's going to be a 20. Dirty 20.
On
I'm
a
rolling,
dirty.
like, really well. Goddamn.
Don't
Yeah,
say
you are.
anything.
So-
Don't jinx yourself.
On a dirty 20, you can tell that, like, you haven't gotten any bad vibes from this guy. He doesn't seem nefarious. But like you're kind of thinking back about the like sudden appearance of him and the way that you were able to just walk out of camp, but Aang didn't see you, and just the kind of like lack of alarm bells going off inside of your head, minus like the very obvious ones. You get the feeling that there might be some sort of subtle magic at play that is kind of dampening things. Dampening maybe sound, maybe dampening your ability to notice things or to feel things. You can't tell because you don't know magic in the way that like a trained wizard knows magic. You are going off your gut instinct. So you don't know what all magic is capable of. But you definitely feel like there's something going on here that goes beyond the fact that this man is just talking.
Okay. She's noticed that there are curtains.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't really have many choices here. Many options. Okay. Paige is going to reach out a hand. Palm turned upwards. Okay, so I will hear you out, but I want my hat back. It's mine.
He smiles real wide, and he will go and take with both hands the hat off of his head and hold it like it is a very delicate piece of glassware, and he will set it gently in your hand.
really rude to just take something like that.
I figured you were one to appreciate parlor tricks.
Not on it stealing.
Is it truly stealing if I intended fully to give it back to you upon request, as you can see? And he gestures to the hat that's in your hand.
It still hurt. But it's okay. We can move past it.
Kind of scrunches his face a little bit, but he nods at the mention of moving past. He goes, "You're right. And you know what? I do want to gain your trust. So, in the effort of doing so, how best can I repair the damaged bridge?"
Yeah, very, very sweet smile. Well, you can tell me everything you aren't telling me so far. I think that would be a good way to start.
He smiles, and there's like a little, like something, like a little shine to his eyes. Roll me a persuasion check. Or, sorry, diplomacy check.
Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. It's gonna be a 27.
27. Okay.
I got a 19.
Hell yeah. So he kind of narrows his eyes
Knocking on
and
wood.
nods. And he'll go, "Sure thing. So, what I haven't told you. I might be a little older than I appear. Magic is good for one thing, and that's keeping the youth about your appearance. Though it's probably easy for you to assume that, given that I knew your grandpappy. I can also tell you right now," and he crosses his heart. He's like, "Cross my heart, swear on whatever deity you believe in or don't believe in. I'm not a fae. I am not a monster, and I do not come from these woods." And he gestures to the woods around.
Okay. She nods again.
I'm. Oh, you were gonna say?
No, continue.
He says, "And I, more or less, am truly just an interested party in your family."
Is it more or less?
He tilts his head from side to side and goes, "Strictly less."
You said strictly or
Strictly less.
strictly
Like,
less?
that's. He said more or less, and then you said, "Is that more or less?" And he's like, "No, it's less."
Mm-hmm. She nods as if like a about what I was expecting.
Tell me, Miss Paige Isabelle Cuvier, how do you plan on getting this girl you're looking for?
What do you mean?
He smiles real big. Roll me a deception check.
It's gonna be a 26.
He smiles and he just goes, "Oh, I'm not sure what I mean, Miss Cuvier. Though I will say, of all of the creatures in the woods that you could have partnered up with or made a deal with, you picked a hell of a creature to pull out." Now, how much do you reckon you know about, haints and the like?
I can't say I'm an expert, but I've picked up a bit here and there from the others.
He nods sagely. Can't say you're an expert. I'm not much of an expert either, but I travel a lot. Like, a lot. And from what I was able to gather in my many travels, I ain't never seen a haint do anything good. Keep your wits about you's all I'm saying. It's only a matter of time before she gets bored, or he or they.
I'm aware of the potential dangerous situation we could be in.
He raises an eyebrow. Don't be so sure. You are tangoing with one nasty little haint. Dee been wandering around these woods for longer than you've been around.
Right. She has been, or they, whatever. How did they leave camp without noticing?
Well, I'm glad you asked. And he takes a few steps back, and you don't hear any noise. Like, you can see the snow crunching beneath his feet, but you don't hear anything. And he does this, like, kind of flourish with his hands and gestures to his feet, which you can see he's wearing very, very fine, like, pointed black leather kind of, not loafers, but like dress shoes. Did you say Crocs?
Sorry.
Shut up. He gestures down and he just goes, "That is but a small sample of some of the things that I have learned in my many travels. Traveling, well, I tend to travel light." And he winks. "And in so doing, I like to be, soft-stepped. I try not to dawdle and wait a little bit too long when it's so easy to overstay a welcome."
She nods.
So, let me ask you this, Miss Cuvier. Can I call you Paige?
Sure.
Let me ask you this, Paige. I am making an effort to gain your trust. And there is a lot that I know that you don't. If I were to tell you simply everything, I don't think your little head would be able to handle it. And he, like, reaches out and, like, he doesn't knock you in the head, but he taps one knuckle against your head as if it's like an object. He just goes, "Well, not to belittle you in any way, I think you are quite capable and competent and intelligent. However, there are just some things that I know that don't translate well to other people. So, in an effort of good faith, I will open the floor to you. Provided you are willing to deal with me." And he holds out a hand. "I will offer you answers. Answers 3. And he holds up 3 fingers in his other hand.
She pauses. So, you're going to give me 3 answers that I ask of you?
He nods once.
You know, that would be a pretty good deal if you weren't disguising things between the words that you pick and hiding answers within offenses. It's not really saying anything. So, I don't know. It's. She, like, looks as if she's looking at a sale that she thinks is not worth it.
He gets a little bit of a sly grin, and he'll curl his fingers into a fist and retract his hand, and he'll say, "Well, you don't have to accept my deal. You're still benefiting from a contract written before your time. I am not bound to you per se, but I will be around. Hence why I know so much stuff about you and your little crew. The Delaunays. Tristan's up to some interesting stuff back home. I'm sure Miss Willow would love to know."
If I were to take your deal, would you actually answer them, or would you just do what you've been doing most of the time?
He frowns, almost offended, and he just goes, "You don't think I'm a man of my word?
I don't know you.
Huh. Fair enough. If I can be so bold as to say, I have been doing this a long time. And this vocation I have chosen is not without risk. Part of my duties in this position I'm in involve a little bit of risk management. So you'll have to pardon a little bit of my caginess as I assess the risk," and he gestures to you, "of my investment. And you are an investment."
And then she looks in the direction of camp for a second. Before she turns back to look at him, a very determined look on her face as she says, "Okay. I will take the 3 answers as long as you give me as much as is possible."
He smiles, and he will hold out a hand to shake.
Paige does not hesitate as she shakes the hand.
When you shake his hand, you feel like he has a firm grip, and that grip seems to tighten around your wrist and up your arm and around your shoulders, and it kind of passes like a wave over your head and your torso and midsection and down through your waist and legs and toes. And when he releases his hand, it feels like a full body tensing of your muscles just lets go, and you feel almost relieved. It's not like you were in pain, but it felt like you were gripped by something. Now, I imagine you have several questions, of which you will only receive 3 answers contractually. However, in the spirit of good faith, I might be willing to just give you a couple of freebies now and again. I think this will be the start of a wonderful, functional relationship.
She does a very non-committal nod. She's thinking, fucking brain blasting here. What the fuck? There's so many questions here.
He sees Paige thinking, and he will hold up a finger and just go, and for your consideration, he reaches down and scoops up some snow, and he takes a step to the side and casts it over empty air. And when he casts it over the empty air, you can see, like, at first it kind of scatters randomly, and then as it starts to settle, it settles on, like, an invisible 3D image. And, like, it would, if you didn't know better, you would think, like, oh man, there's something invisible that's just been standing right there the whole time. But you recognize the image that's there because it's Riley. And he's running somewhere. Like you're watching him through like some kind of distant thing. Like this is a portent almost. And this man standing beside you, still watching the 3D image, like looks out of the corner of his eye and just goes, I have eyes in a lot of places, my dear. I like to keep myself aware. Knowledge is power, after all.
I know. Okay, so... She looks at the image of Riley. Is it still up?
Yeah.
Or is it gone? Still up? Is it like a GIF?
It's like a live feed of Riley moving somewhere.
Oh. I feel like her eyes are just trained on it. And she kind of like balls her fists into her little blanket poncho. Okay. First question.
He snaps his fingers and the snow dissipates. The image of Riley, not like all of the snow in the world.
I got you.
Gotcha.
I'd be so
And he
much more
turns.
scared if that was the case.
he not like makes the image dissipate, and then he turns his attention to you.
She looks at him. What are you? You've told me what you aren't, but not what you are.
He nods and like considers this, and he just goes, well, I'm an old traveler. To put it bluntly, I have seen and walked over many faces of many earths for many eons. I've been here and there, just about everywhere. I am not human. And he looks at you very, very intensely. But I am also not Fae. He gestures around to the forest and says, I'm really not of this particular place. In any reasonable facet. And before you go keeping yourself up at night wondering, he points a finger at your head and pokes it and just goes, I'm not a figment of your imagination.
I would hope not. So I'd probably have to go to the hospital.
He snorts.
What was the agreement between you and Compere?
He smiles, and, like, at the mention of that, he claps his hands together and he just goes, "What?" And kind of rubs his hands, like, excited. I am glad we got to this. This is one of the most important subjects that we could ever converse about, you and I, or really anyone in your family, but most particularly you, considering your grandpappy, he was a savvy individual, to say the least. He and I had a working arrangement. And through no small effort, he bested me in a game of wit. And he bows his head in respect. And so, I owed him 3 favors. And then he ticks down 2 fingers. Unfortunately, he didn't get to use all 3. One of his favors was a little bit of extra something. And he gestures to you. He's like, I'm sure you know what that extra something is. The other favor, which much easier, but a lot more mundane, was to watch over his family. For generations and generations, he does in quotation marks. And he points to you and just goes, you are generation number 2. And thus, I'm fulfilling my second favor. And since your grandpappy was a clever man, and an interesting one, I figure you are entitled, possibly, to that last little favor. He wiggles a finger. Provided, of course, that you show me that you're worthy of it.
What exactly does being worthy of a favor mean?
Well, if it helps, you've been doing a pretty good job so far. Just keep things interesting. You wouldn't want me to get aboard now, do you? And he winks.
She narrows her eyes a little bit. Kind of tries her best to not scoff at Paige making someone bored.
Hmm.
Do you know who the fuck she is? So, I am the younger one. Why didn't you talk to Pierre?
He raises, like, he looks up, and you can see that he's looking back towards camp, and he has a very blasé look on his face, and he just goes, that boy is about as interesting as a roll of bread.
What is interesting?
What's, like, he rolls a hand up into a fist and, like, leans on it. Well, what do you want me to say? He ain't a fighter. He ain't gifted. He looks at you. He ain't part of this world, and he gestures to the woods. Sure enough, he's a good boy. I could definitely work a deal or two with him, and he scratches his chin. But, well, half the fun of a deal is what I could get out of it. I don't think that boy has a lot to offer someone like me.
He is more capable than you think he is. He is not just this boring person.
Oh, he's certainly capable. He's just not as able to provide what I in particular am interested in. But I'll take your word for it. Now, if you are satisfied with your answers 3, and he holds up 3 fingers, I'm going to bid you a fond good night. You are not the only one who has to catch up on beauty sleep.
I don't think you ever sleep.
He shrugs. Wouldn't you like to know? But he starts walking back to camp, right by you. Now, I suggest you probably make your way back to your little tent, because it is quite cold, but it will get much colder much quicker after I am scray.
She will start walking. Is he walking back to the camp as well?
Yeah, he's walking back to camp.
Oh, while they're walking, Paige, stay silent for maybe 30 seconds or so. Not even. What smell is this? What magic?
He grins. I might teach it to you in the future. But for now, consider this more of a parlor trick. A useful parlor trick for someone who wants to travel light and travel quick. Now, and you are about probably 20 or 30 feet outside camp. And he stops and turns to you and just goes, "It was a pleasure making your acquaintance, Miss Page. You be sure to give your brother regards for me. I'll consider what you said about his usefulness." But I must take my leave. I have to see a man about a train and about a horse in another city. And he pats you on the head and starts walking in a direction.
She'll probably watch him walk until he's 20, 30 feet out.
Mm-hmm.
And then she just turns and heads into camp. Fucking bundled up in her fucking blanket poncho.
Once he gets to about that 20 or 30 feet point, right when you're about to cut and run back to the tent, you feel the bitter cold set in. Like the, oh shit, I'm outside of my tent in my pajamas cold.
Oh, imagine that's what leads to fucking whisper swearings.
You are whisper swearing. And while you are whisper swearing, Aang, you see Paige running up into camp.
I imagine she's not running because there's snow and she's not properly
Tromping.
dressed. Yeah, she's kind of trying her best to not disturb anyone, but very angrily and angry at the cold, marching through the fucking snow in her PJs. Man, she's got her fucking bunny slippers on.
And Herod has had a more eventful night this night than she usually does, keeping watch. She will see Paige hurrying in, and she will, I imagine it's untoward for her to have, like, a cloak of some sort. Is it, Joe? I mean, she doesn't feel the cold, but...
Yeah, no, I imagine she had a cloak for the fact that she's just ominous.
Yeah, it makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Herod will alight from the fucking tree in extremely unnatural fashion, landing upon the snow without making a dent in it, and just hurry over toward Paige and hold up the cloak.
Paige does not hesitate. Into the cloak. Immediate.
Now, Aang, you don't have to roll for this, but you definitely remember setting up for watch and seeing everyone go in their separate directions in their tents and asleep. You did not see Paige exit her tent.
And Herod looks at Paige, then looks at the direction from which she came, then back to Paige. Thou art swifter than I recall.
Trying not to freeze.
I'm not a priest? What's that?
Trying not to freeze. Sorry, I need to drink water.
And Herod makes a small sound. 'Tis a terrible thing for, well, your kind to be out at night in such terrible cold.
Yes, it's cold. It's not good. I don't like being cold.
And Herod tilts her head. Pieces not fitting together whatsoever. But she's not sure if it's not fitting together whatsoever because she doesn't understand people very well or because there's something weird going on. Thou knowest well, if there be any trouble over the course of the night, thou can call upon me, yes? There be no need to traipse through the cold for a soul such as yourself.
I don't think this was something that you could have done anything. It started with a bad dream, so I just went on a walk. It's very sort of unsatisfying one, but a walk. And then it got cold, and so I'm back, and the cloak is so big.
And Herod will smile softly at the mention of the cloak being very big. Well, 'tis sized for one such as myself. Thou art a great deal smaller. Then a beat. It seems to this creature as if there's a difficulty this night with nightmares. They seem to be plaguing the camp, back to your tent, then, where 'tis warm and safe.
She nods, bundled up further, and starts making her way before she kind of stops and she turns and just concern written across her face. She's like, "Wait, hi, did you have a bad dream?"
Ingharad is standing in the middle of the cold as if it's not really any trouble at all. Not wearing her cloak even. Just she's fine. But in the dark of the night, her eyes go a little bit softer. Yes, a terrible dream. My first.
First dream or first a bad one?
First dream. 'Tis a terrible misery that it should be so awful.
Oh no. Do you want to talk about it? I know that sometimes I talk about it to someone and then I can feel better about it. Get it out of my head so I don't think about it as much. Because, I mean, if you get it out of your head, then it's not there anymore. It just floats away.
Ingharad pauses for a second, and you can see the gears turning here as she tries to puzzle out if she should talk or not. Madigan saith similar, that 'tis a boon to speak of such things, that in doing so you might clear them from your mind. Well, let it suffice to say that in this awful vision, this miserable creature brought great misery to those around her.
Oh. The miserable creature, is that, are you talking about you?
Yes.
Oh, I'm very sorry. It's not a good feeling to experience that. It's just awful.
Ingharad is quiet for a second as the snow falls. Yes, it is a thing I would not wish upon even the foulest of enemies. And so, if I may, I hope that thy dreams are kinder now, that thou hast chased them away. Perhaps they fear the cold as much as humans do.
I don't think that dreams care about the weather. I think that they'll find you and be whatever they want to be. But we can hope that they'll be better, and that, maybe next time I won't have that same. It's just sort of the same thing.
Ingharad will tilt her head, considering running through items she has to lend people. She does not have many. And then just looks at Paige. I am terribly sorry for thy suffering. Truly. If 'twas anything like mine, Well, it shall linger as the frost lingers until early spring. But let us hope for the coming warmth to melt it away.
Ed. So, I think my three was similar. But, cause I did this. I did really bad things to people. But the worst, it's you don't have to wait till spring. You see, even in the winter, it's not only spring where it melts. You know, at noon, at where the sun is the highest, it melts then too. And it might freeze again, you know, later when it gets colder and more windy, but it melts again the next day. And then more and more and until spring. But it's not just spring it melts.
Thy eyes are ever turned toward the light. 'Tis heartening.
I hope so, but I think I should give you back your cloak now. It's very comfy and very warm, but this is yours.
Keep it for the evening.
But you're going to be outside where it's snowing and it's cold.
Ingrid smiles softly, shakes her head, waves gloved hand. Worry not for this unharried. All
It's too
troubles
late.
are not.
I'm already worried. Yeah, okay. So you just walk me to the tent and then I give it back. That way, you know, I'm not outside without it, but then you can stay with it so you're not without a cloak. Cloakless and hide. It's no good. Just come, follow me.
Ingrid seems faintly amused by this, but will walk up to the tent with Paige.
Paige kind of just like goes into like softer walking as she gets closer. And like puts like a little finger up to her lips and like a shh. She's like, okay, we're going to be very quiet so that we don't buzz up here, because I have buzzed him enough for today. I can buzz him again tomorrow. But we're sneaking for now, okay?
Silent nod from Ingrid.
Okay, good. Great as this. You're natural.
Silent nod and smirk from Ingrid.
Okay, so we're going to sneak. Proceed to sneak to the tent. And once they get to the door, the little opening, Paige is going to take off the cloak. And I imagine her hair looks like fucking static. Just pure fucking puffball as she takes the cloak off.
Ingrid will accept the cloak, drapes it over her hand, does not put it on.
Paige looks very expectant.
Moment of silence.
Paige gestures.
Suddenly, the piece is starting to fit. Ingrid puts the cloak on.
Small little golf claps from Paige.
Didst thou not say we needed to be quiet?
Oh shit! Looks over her shoulder. I'm sure Pierre is still dead asleep.
Yeah, he's like
not.
a rock.
Yeah. Okay, no, it's fine, because we're sneaking, so it's the sneaky claps, it's fine.
Sneaky claps.
She nods. Okay, so I'm going to bet you have. I don't. You have a good night?
Peace be upon thee.
Okay. Oh, one last thing. I hope that you can claim again, but it's a good one, because claims are not just pets, they're good too.
There's a pause from Angharad, and she seems to consider this for a little while. Perhaps if... Well, soon I may have something even better than a dream. But that remains to be seen. I wish thee a good rest.
She nods. Okay, you too. Shh, shh, you too. She waves, and she steps inside.
Angharad nods, returns to tree.
King Herod, you return to tree to hold Maddie, who is still asleep there. And speaking of Maddie, who's still asleep, Iris,
Hi.
are you prepared?
As prepared as I'm gonna be.
Perfect.
Let's do it.
Let me go here. Had to update a few things. That's the right one. Yes. So, I need...
No concern. No concern at all. Everything's gonna be fine. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be perfect.
It's going to be fine. It's going to be so fine.
Totally.
So, Maddie, you are in a deep slumber. And, excuse me. And as you are deep in your dream, you're in an actually familiar spot. This music's not great. I want this one. Something quieter. You notice, or you find yourself in that same little, like, section of forest woodland path that you were ambushed in earlier in the day. Only there's no snow. It is just the dry woodland with, like, bristles and such underground. Or underfoot. And as you find yourself here, you're already, like, senses heightened, on high alert. Go ahead and give me a perception roll.
Okay.
$19. That's pretty good. So with a 19, you, like, you're standing in the spot where you, not but hours ago, and it, like, dream logic, it doesn't feel like hours ago. It feels like you're just here, and that moment isn't far behind you emotionally. But you're standing in the spot that hours ago you were almost cleaving through, or you were basically cleaving through someone with a shovel. And you spin around in the forest, like, you hear the rustling of the trees and the leaves, and on the wind you get the scent of blood and sweat. You get that just barely detectable sense of, like, something is here. And as you do, you start to notice these. And you don't know where you get this name from, but you know that when you see them, they're ravagers. That's what they are. They destroy, and they kill, and they burn, and they break and defile. That is what they are. They are the ruin and ravaging of land and people and things. And you smell that on them. You smell like the fetid stink of death and old crusted blood. They are waiting in ambush for you, and somehow they do not see you.
Weird.
It's dream logic.
Yeah, yeah.
You're perfectly hidden. So
Well,
what do you do?
I can tell that they're waiting to ambush me.
Uh-huh.
Can I tell which seems to be the least prepared or weakest or something like that?
Yeah, you don't even have to roll for it. You would know that the one who is the least prepared for an ambush of some kind would be the one dead center.
Okay. If that's the case, if she knows that, she's gonna go straight for the one that's the least prepared, take him out as quickly as possible.
Okay. Go ahead. You you can go ahead and make your roll. I'm going to throw some of these guys into the combat tracker.
May I prepare my hammer to attack?
Yeah, and I will count your attack roll as your initiative.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Click on it. Did it roll?
I don't see anything yet.
Ah, here we go.
16 will hit.
Kinda, I imagine she kind of drew her hammer a bit more quietly, kind of moved her feet back to push off quickly and charge essentially to get a big hit swing in as quickly as she can.
Yes. Okay, let me set your initiative 16. And then we're going to roll all these guys. So you will go first.
Okay.
And your roll of a 16 will hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay.
Nine. Okay. So you rush up and vault over and bring the hammer down on them, and you feel that crunch and breaking of bone underneath flesh, breaking like pieces of pottery and clay. You can feel that cracking and snapping. What do you do with the rest of your turn?
I remember. Fucking, it's your turn. Double check. How many actions of today? Oh, I can use one action? Yeah.
You still have you still have 2 actions.
Okay. I will use one action to rage.
Gotcha.
And I mean, I guess I'll strike again. And that's at the
Get
2,
'em.
right?
So because you initiated combat, I will say that you can ignore the multi-attack penalty by virtue of you're going on your turn. So it's kind of like a surprise round.
Okay. Then I'll roll again.
Oh, almost a nat 20.
Almost.
Okay. It's not a crit. It's not a crit, but it is a hit.
Damage.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. And you get your rage damage on top of this, which is what?
The rage damage, I believe, is 2. Double checking. You deal 2 additional damage with melee weapons and unarmed attack.
Gotcha. So you have, that is a 12 and a 9 for a 21.
Ooh. What's this effect?
That's rage,
Hey, that's cool.
isn't it? Okay. So that with a 21, how do you want to kill this character? You're just bashing them to death with your hammer.
Oh, this is whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole?
Whack-a-mole.
Okay. So you like rush up, hit him once, like get him once in the gut and make him bend over, and then you bring the hammer up and over the top of them and then down whack-a-mole style and just splat them into the ground. Like they're pasted into the dirt.
Yeah.
This guy is dead.
She'll turn, so she's kind of facing these 2 girls. Holding her hammer ready.
Nice. So go ahead and since you killed him, make me a will save.
Okay. Where's... Ah, here we go. My bad.
Oh, you're good. 15. You are feeling fresh and like the fire is burning within you. Combat makes sense. Fighting, violence, it just works. It just works. And this is like a home to you. You feel kind of triumphant.
Yeah.
Is that your whole turn? Are you good?
That would be my 3 actions, so yeah.
Awesome.
Because the rage and the 2 attacks.
Yeah. So, this guy and the dog are going to get a turn. He is going to bust out a bow, and the dog is going to move here and attack you. So we're going to go 1. That is this is bonus. An 18 to hit. Does an 18 hit you?
An 18. I believe my AC floored by 1. Yes, it does.
Ooh, okay. So an 18, you are hit, and you will take...
Wait. Does the sheet automatically take off the AC or no when I rage?
It might.
So I think my AC is 19. But
Oh,
it
yeah,
says it's
then it
18 right
does.
now. So.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Then yeah, I have 18 AC right now.
Perfect. So an 18 hits. So with that 18, you're gonna take 4 damage as you get run through by a longbow arrow.
One of those grunts.
He's gonna go again, and that's gonna hurt. That's a natural 20. So I'm gonna rotate
no.
this dice out. So you're getting hit for 10 damage. So, that will be his turn because he had to draw. The dog is gonna go. Dog's gonna run up. Definitely doesn't hit. And a nat 1. He's gonna fucking fumble. So the dog, this Ravager dog, like quadrupedal humanoid creature, runs up to you and starts clawing and scratching at you. And like arrow poking out of your shoulder, you're able to like prod it with the hammer to keep it away from grabbing. It is your, or no, it's not your turn again. That's both of these guys' turn. Then it's going to be both of these guys' turn. This guy's going to, they're not going to move actually. They're going to both pull out ranged weapons as well. One of them pulls out a weapon that you don't recognize, but he loads it, and that is a 19 to hit. That's going to be 4 damage. Excuse me, 4 damage. 2, that misses. This guy's hit. The next guy is knocking another strange weapon. It looks like a metal folded. It looks like a gun, but it's not quite a gun. And he's only going to hit with 1 attack, with a 21. You will take 2 damage. So, Maddie, make me another will save.
Okay.
Okay. You are getting down to the wire here, but you think you can take him. You're still good. You're still good. You're still good.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take your turn.
So this one has this metal thing, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is it a free action to drop your weapon?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Would it... So if I were to try to do this, I assume it would be a grapple. I want to try and grab this doggo and throw it.
Yeah. It would be, I will say, if you want to roll an athletics check to grab it and throw it, it is an athletic check to grab it, and then it would be a roll to attack, but I'll let it count as 1 action if you succeed.
Okay, cool. I know Titan Wrestler is not coming up here, but yeah, I'm saying that's part of it, yeah.
That's part of it. That's part of it.
Athletics check. Come on. Roll.
Athletics
Can I
check
use-
on 14.
Can I use
you,
the hero point?
you can.
I want to make sure this works.
19. I think a 19 will get there. Okay. So you grab this dog creature bodily, and now make a ranged attack to throw it at the dude.
Okay. I do not have any ranged weapons. So I'm not sure how I'm supposed to make the ranged attack.
Just
I didn't
So-
hear.
just roll like you can just roll a d20 and then add your dexterity modifier, and
Okay.
if because it's a improvised weapon, you're not technically trained in it,
Hmm.
so it'd just be your dexterity modifier. An 8.
Plus
So I will
2.
I don't know
that's
how high your dex is.
10. It is 2.
2. So 10 would not hit, but I will give you a deal here. Roll me another d20, just a flat d20.
Okay.
I will let you swap your roll so that you get a 16 on this throw and an 8 on the next roll I ask for.
Sure. Let's go for it.
Okay. So you grab this dog and you yote the dog. As the dog flies through the air. I'm gonna need to move a lot of pieces right here, but it'll be cool. So he's gonna move back. Dog and him are gonna move down. Dog is really weak. So the dog, if you want to roll me 1d6 plus your strength, I will count that as the bludgeoning damage that they both take.
Okay.
Also, it will add your rage modifier or your rage bonus.
Oh, sweet. So that's an extra 2.
So
My strength is
4,
3.
5, 6, 7. Okay. So 7. And then this guy takes 7. Dog is gone. You throw the dog and it like lands on this dude and it collapses to the ground, and you hear the dude like panic, and you hear a as it shoots around into his weird quadrupedal companion. I say dog, it's not actually a dog, mind you. Okay. So
When she did that, as she threw the dog, just kind of growls at these others. It's like, quit the range bullshit and fight me.
So as you say that, you hear like clapping off of to the side. You're not sure where that's coming from. At least not immediately. But after a second, your eyes narrow in, and you can see Dee Dee, like vintage Dee Dee, standing off to the side. Well, like kind of sitting on a rock, clapping her hands. And Madigan, make me a will save. Oh, look, you got an 8. What's your bonus?
Oh wow, yeah, crazy. 5.
5. So, you will get an extra turn at the top of the round. Now it's going to be his guy's turn. And, oh, sorry. Hold on one second. Okay. So this guy's going. And he's gonna miss. He's gonna try again. And man, that -5 really, really hurts, doesn't it? He starting to look a little bit nervous. He is firing arrows like rapidly. And like you can see the nervousness start to set in as like arrows just go completely wide. Madigan, it's your turn. Perfect timing.
High or low?
High.
Okay. So she's gonna leap towards the south.
Okay.
To deal with these guys because they have the nicer weapons.
Uh-huh.
And I move here.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll kind of, as she's running, drag her claws along this thing.
Okay.
Strike. Claws. Roll, please. I'm going to open the actual sheet because the little mini thing is not working. Oh, I dropped my weapon. Second. That's why it was having issues. Why does it say my hands are still occupied?
You're holding the shovel.
Shouldn't be. I'm gonna just cut.
Mm-hmm. You're rolling with your claws, though, right?
Yeah. I'm rolling right here.
Nice. An 18 will hit.
And damage. And that's a +2, I believe.
A 7 + 2. You tear into this dude. You can get a free claw attack additionally at no cost of an action.
Oh, nice.
A 19 will hit. And another 7 for a total of 9. So that's 18?
Yep.
Which, with an 18, this dude is dead. So how do you claw him to death?
So she, like I said, she ran up and kind of clawed across his shoulders, chest to the other shoulder,
Mm-hmm.
and then whipped around and clawed at his neck.
Awesome. You are just covered in like sliding around in like this feral predatory stance and able to just like lean in on the weirdling nature that you just that's been inherent to your body. Like your body is a weapon. And when you use those weapons, you just feel better. And in the background of this conflict, you can hear Dee Dee continuously like applauding and clapping. She doesn't say anything. She is just enjoying the show, which is not out of character for Dee Dee. Dee Dee is violent, and this appeases her nature in a way. You slice this one to ribbons, you find that the next one is scared stiff, and his turn will pass. It is your turn again, Madigan.
Oh. I mean, this one got knocked over, right?
Mm-hmm. He is on the ground, like, backpedaling, but frozen, or tried to backpedal, but he is frozen, partially covered in the corpse of one of his comrades.
Count.
You pounce. This will count as a crit.
Oh.
So you can just roll crit damage for your claws.
Sweet.
Or your bite.
Oh, claws are fine right now. Do I still roll to hit though, or no?
No, you will just crit him, so you can just hit. Yeah, there you go.
Claw is into chest.
You dive down and claw into the chest, and you, like, piercing a watermelon. Your claws sink past the toughened, like, calloused layer of skin, and you feel organs rupturing at the edges of your nails. And there is like a shudder as this person is torn apart on the inside. You're go ahead and make me another will save, and this one is at -5. As Dee Dee is cheering you on.
Oh, so -5.
I will give you an alternative to rolling.
Okay.
You can take a hero point if you automatically fail.
Okay. Sure. Take that hero point.
So you withdraw your claws from the chest of this creature, and you start to feel the rage bubble up in earnest, more so than it had before. It is almost like animalistically defiant, and the cheers in the background from Dee Dee, just hooting and hollering and having a good old time, have started to fade into like low droning, and you can hear right now like the panicked breath of another person and your own blood like rushing behind your ears. Can you mute, please? Sorry. But that, like, that, it just primal awareness is overtaking you. You have the controlled tag for the time being, which means you no longer make actions as your own. You feel that primal thing build up in you. And in like an echoing voice in your head, you hear Dee Dee just reminding you, it's in your nature. It's all in your nature. This last person is slain as you dig your claws out of their chest, bringing with it severed chunks of meat and viscera. And you turn and skulk over to this last person. This last person is truly defenseless. As you walk over, you are not tall, Madigan. But in this moment, you are staring down at this person. They are standing, and you are looking down at them. And as you look down and see yourself, you can see that there are haunches where there weren't before, and there is fur where there was previously just hair. And in this moment, feeling both triumphant and a little bit revolted, what is it that goes through your mind, Madigan, as you watch, almost like a bystander in your own body, you sink one claw into this person's gut and then one claw into their neck and bring them forward to your mouth?
She is thinking she's gone too far.
You release the hold on this now dead rag of a creature, and it flops to the ground. And there is like a coldness that washes over you. The rage starts to subside. And oops, I don't want XP. And as you look around, you notice Dee Dee is there, looking wistful and proud. Her face in this moment is repaired. She looks whole, which is strange, but she wears her blue dress, and has her legs crossed and one elbow on her knee, and her hands, her chin in her hands, and she just kind of smiles proudly at you. Like, looks over at you and just goes, "Darling, you are wonderful. But you're not done yet." And she looks to the side like she sees something. And you look over to the side and you see two unfortunately familiar faces. Horrified, shocked, you see Malik and Vincent, who are running up the pass, weapons drawn and at the ready. They have stopped dead in their tracks, and they just stare at you. What do you do?
She, so Dee Dee said, "You're done, right?"
Mm-hmm.
She looks to her friends, and tries to, she clears her throat a little bit and kind of puts her hand to her neck where her necklace is and pushes it in a bit, trying to make sure she's calmer. And she tries to play it off me like I took care of the problem. It's fine. We're good now. Try to act casual, like this is just another day.
You try to act casual, and as you're trying to like kind of play this off, your voice comes out, and it is just kind of garbled feral noises. It doesn't your vocal cords don't want to cooperate with your transformation. Like they've been permanently changed. And you look at their horrified expressions, and Malik is the first to speak up, and he simply shakes his head and says, Maddie, what have you done?
Maddie is panicking a little bit when her voice doesn't come out properly. And she's, again, pushing on her necklace more, trying to get whatever semblance of control back. But she's trying to will herself back to normal. But
As you try to like will yourself back to normal, you're not full blown panic looking around, at least not yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm assuming that Maddie her eyes are kind of darting in like a panicked motion back and forth.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
In the brief moments where you're like looking left and right and you're just kind of like, oh shit, you notice that beside you, where before there was a corpse of some kind of feral woodland corrupted person, there is the corpse of Ang. Her stomach perforated from claws, and her throat torn and gouged from your nails, with bite marks in her. And
He's moving back.
You take a step back, and both Vincent and Malik take a step forward. Vincent, he had a pistol ready and a dagger in his offhand, but you can see him sheathe the dagger and start to load something different into the pistol. And he looks distraught. It's very, very unsettling to see a frown on his face when normally he has a big toothy grin.
Oh, definitely more panic. Way more panic is setting in. And
You look. Go
step
ahead.
back.
You take a step back and you notice another corpse. Where before it was another one of those creatures, it is instead Electra. Broken and on the ground. Vincent speaks up and says, Madigan, think you've crossed a line. Yeah. Think there's no going back.
He
What do you do?
is she's breathing really hard. He's extremely afraid to look at what she can assume the other bodies are.
Without even looking, you know who's behind you. As you are feeling the panic set in, you start to revisit the flashes of violence in your mind. And you start to see that it was never them. The scent of blood on the air and acrid death and violence. That was you. And it was always you. Dee Dee is watching, and there is a little sadness in her eyes. Like you're being persecuted for something that isn't your fault. What do you do?
I'm gonna roll a d20 real quick. She is running off a lot of instinct still, kind of feeling it under. And the instinct to run kind of kicks in. She doesn't want this. She doesn't want to be around this. She doesn't want to see any of this. And she sure as hell is not going to fight her friends after all this. She needs to figure out what happened. She needs to figure it out. That's all she needs to do. So more and more panic, and she's breathing hard, and she stares at her two friends, and then at Dee Dee, and then back, and goes to make a run for it.
You turn to make a run for it, and as you go, you feel a firm hand grip your shoulder, and there is only one person that has a strength able to rival that of a fully lycanthropized person. And it is the one person whose gaze you desperately didn't want to look, the one person whose eyes you desperately didn't want to see you right now. Hawk is there. And she looks devastated and disappointed. But there is a tiny hint of something worse that you can see in Hawk's face. She reaches a hand back and pulls out that giant red sword. Roll me a d20. I will give you this on a 10. What you see in her eyes, beyond the disappointment and the horror, is that she expected this to happen eventually. And she lifts the Red King up and brings it down. And just as the sword falls, you jolt awake on the tree. Make me a reflex save.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes!
Yeah, that's fair.
You fall out of the tree.
I was tempted just to fail it initially anyways, so...
Can
Perfect.
I try to catch her?
You can roll me. What the fuck can you even roll? Roll me an acrobatics check.
Acrobatics. Okay.
It'll be a DC 19.
19. I've got a +8. All right. Let's see what we got. Where the fuck is my D20? All right.
Rambling, you hear Megan first wake up like with the jolt and harsh suck in breath of like sudden consciousness.
I'm very sorry, Maddie. I rolled a 3 and I have a +8, so that's an 11. Which is what I needed to roll to catch you. So very sorry.
Yeah, it's
you
fine.
you dash over to her as fast as you possibly can. Madigan, you're still getting the benefits of a full night's rest.
Yay!
And then you take 1d6 falling damage.
Okay.
Do you want to roll it or do you want me to roll it?
I'll roll it. 1 piece. That's a D8. I want a D6, please. Thank you. Yeah.
5. So you like wake up, freak out, have that brief gasp, and then the gasp turns into a full scream as you fall out of the tree, just barely over 10 feet up. You snap a couple branches and crash into the ground, only buffeted by the little bit of snowdrift that had accumulated at the base. And Aang, you are quick to react, but in the moment you were talking with Paige inside a tent, and you are just a bit too far to get there in time.
Aang nevertheless rushes over at top speed, and as she finds Maddie in the snow, she immediately starts checking her over, a look of just absolute concern and worry on her face.
Maddie fell out of the tree and is like on her back, but she's kind of like scrambling, looking around, like, what the fuck just happened, kind of thing. Still breathing a bit hard from the horrible dream. But she kind of like scrambles up and kind of moves up her back up against the tree, kind of thing, in a sitting position. Not head still kind of thinking about the past dream, not fully awake. She's not someone who wakes up. It's not someone who wakes up easily, anyways. So it's like that weird dazed, like what the fuck's going on kind of thing.
And Herod helps her sitting up, is still very deeply concerned as she looks her over. Madigan, dear heart, what has happened to thee?
Right. I fell out of the tree. Just kind of looking up, looking around the camp, looking at Aang Herod. You're okay, right? You're fine. You're kind of like touching the sides of her shoulders and whatnot, like.
Of course. I regret to inform thee there's been a terrible trouble with nightmares today. But worry not, the Song Herod is fine. But Madigan, what of you? What are you? And then she starts. She's just like picking up Maddie's arm, moving it a little, rotating shoulder. Like she doesn't quite know what she's doing, but the care is there.
I didn't hurt myself. I'm fine. I just wait. So what was that about nightmares?
There have been many, it seems, the night.
Mm. Yeah, we should get out of this place first thing in the morning.
There is a slight frown on Angharud's face. Art thou certain thou art well, Madigan? Must we, as thou didst before say, perhaps we should speak of the matter?
Maddie doesn't look Aang in the eyes, and she's like, "No, I'm fine. I'm good. Just really weird. That's all."
But thou didst speak the truth earlier, for I spoke the night with Electra and with Paige. Conversations each, if thou canst believe it. And my heart does feel lighter. Perhaps it could be the same for thee, Madigan.
I will also say, Paige and Willow and Electra, y'all can hear this if you so choose, with the ruckus of falling out of the tree, and then Angharad rushing to her aid. Considering Paige was like just with her.
Peeking out from the door of the tent.
Huh?
Wait, what? What's going on?
Maddie Maddie's mind is kind of what's the word? Stuck on the look that Dreamhawk gave her. And she just kind of shakes her head. It's like, what? No, it wasn't that crazy. It was just weird. I was fighting a huge monster. It was a really tough fight.
I'm gonna go ahead and perception that. All right, let's see. It's perception, right?
Mm-hmm. Perception is used for sense motive.
Joe, do you think I get any circumstantial bonuses to this, would you say?
Considering you are considering a particular contract, I will give you a circumstantial +2.
Thank you.
Maddie also is not looking at Ingrid. She's not lying well. I'm gonna be real here.
I hit a 13 +9, that's 21.
What the fuck?
So to give you a reasonable attempt, Maddie, if you want to roll deception, you can, but if you choose not to, your passive deception is 10 plus your deception bonus, which I imagine is probably quite low.
Yeah, deception. I mean, it's a +1.
Hey,
11.
that's an 11, a DC 11.
Wait a second. If she rolls a 21 versus an 11, isn't that a crit?
Mm-hmm. Do you want to crit fish, Madigan? Crit fish to hide your shame?
You know what? Fuck it, because I think Maddie, she's not a great liar, But she doesn't want to talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
Hypocrite.
Hypocrite.
Hypocrite. I feel like we need to like go back to that VOD and just get it as a soundbite.
Yes.
Oh my god!
Holy shit!
It's fine. What are you
Okay.
talking about? She's
So,
great.
Aang,
What?
Maddie is very obviously uncomfortable. But parsing the precise reason as to why eludes you just by virtue of the fact that you aren't well versed in people. Madigan is not the average people, but Madigan is a people. But you are astute enough to know that the vibes are off.
Vibes are off. But
The vibes are off.
maybe it was a big fight. She doesn't know. She's got no way to tell. People are weird. They make weird shapes with their faces sometimes. And she's not great at reading 99% of people.
I will also throw in that there is a distracting part of Madigan's expression to you, and it is the familiarity of the facial expression you see on her. You've seen it before, the facial expression of "I don't want to talk about it."
Oh no. Oh, Joe, that hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Hurts. And Herod doesn't know what's going on, but she wants really desperately to help. And she will put both of her hands on Maddie's shoulders and just look at her for a little bit. And she waits just a hair too long before she talks. It veers into weird territory, but it usually does with her. Madigan, dost thou remember our promise?
Yeah. Which one?
And Herod blinks. She was not anticipating which one. She's mentally running some very important math here. And then goes, that I should never from thy side stray.
Yeah. What about it?
Well, no matter the beast, no matter how fearsome, whoever should raise a blade or a fang against thee, Madigan, we shall face them together. And in this clearing thou art safe, warm, fed. Whatever hath in that dream transpired shall remain in that dream. I promise thee.
There's a rustling beside you, Paige, as Pierre finally wakes up. What did I miss? And he's like rubbing his eyes. What's it? Puts the covers over his head.
She's putting on her fucking. She's putting on proper shoes in case she needs to go out there and make some emergency hot cocoa. She's grabbing the bunny hat. She's grabbing the puffy coat. She's being as quiet as possible. She must be ready. She might actually start prepping hot cocoa actually in the tent.
Thanks, Aang. I appreciate it. And she kind of bit her lip a little bit, but she kind of forces a usual smile. Is I can can I give you a hug? Is that okay?
Of course. Aang brightens and seems very happy at this. And
You give
will.
Aang,
Oh god.
I was gonna say, you give Aang a hug, and it is comforting, Madigan. And you breathe in the weird but friendly, like, scent of Aang, which to you, like, people scent stand more. They are more tied to a person and the emotions that person, like, arouses in you, because you have such a potent, like, sniffer, for lack of a better word.
Sense of smell?
That's the word, or series of words. But as you are kind of calming down, you blink a little bit and kind of like keep the anxiety at bay. And all of a sudden, the anxiety spikes yet again as you see, lurking in the shade of a tree off out into the underbrush of camp, not far enough away that it's breaking any rules, but far enough away that it's like unsettling, especially in the dark. D sits, looking right at you.
So Maddie was initially giving the hug, it's a little bit tighter than probably than needed / normal. And she was trying to calm down, but she sees D, and she just, her expression, which was becoming more neutral and calm and relaxed, she just frowns and kind of narrows her eyes a bit. But if he doesn't respond, just close her eyes and kind of move her head closer into Aang's to give like a proper hug.
D will slide out from underneath the shade of the tree. And he's in full gear. Stolen leathers that were pieced together to make a more coherent, more polite society style outfit. And he just walks over, silently tiptoeing over the snow. Oh, that was quite the spill there. You okay?
I'm perfectly fine.
He smiles. Dream of anything cool?
Yeah, I took on a horde of monsters. Pretty epic, actually.
Do you want to roll a deception check? or do you want to roll an intimidation check?
Intimidation, please.
Yeah, go for it.
Please and thank you. And I have something
Oh
for
my
intimidation.
god.
What the hell?
Yes! That's my luck for the year, guys. Thank you.
Holy shit!
D
Maddie is not telling anyone about these dreams.
D sees that and like sees the fucking death stare from Maddie, and he is just like, okay. You keep your secrets. I don't give a shit. He just nods and he's just like, good to hear. And he'll reach over and pat Aang on the shoulder twice. And then he'll scan over the tents and then just kind of walk off to a different corner of the camp to skulk around and do nothing of import.
I have no clue how early it is, but Maddie's going to say this anyways. Well, I'll probably get breakfast going for everyone. People are gonna want it anyways.
Shall I tell these stories?
Yeah. If you don't mind.
Of course. It would be the Sangharat's great pleasure.
Goes to campfire. Starts, I don't know, fucking cooking something.
Angharad will pop out her other book and start reading poetry from it.
Maddie is calmed. Just listening. While she makes, I'm gonna say oatmeal, if that's okay. Because oats don't really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Is it 2
Pierre,
a.m.? Sure. But
it's
oatmeal.
closer to like 4. We'll say it's like 4 a.m. So it's, it's pre-dawn, but you guys have rested enough that I'm willing to say you can have your long rest benefits. And Pierre will help you cook some additional food. Because at this point, Pierre's like, oh, everyone is awake. I suppose I will just wake up too. Why not? I don't want to be, the odd man out, FOMO and such.
Oh no, I'm such. I imagine Paige has prepared hot chocolate. Oh, sorry, hot cocoa specifically. I feel like she didn't want to interrupt the hug, but she's like, I vibe. This is a shitty night. I'm not going to sleep.
Yep. That's Maddie's thoughts too. Fuck that.
Paige probably either got to the fire to with the hot cocoa, or she fucking made it in the tent and fucking prestoed the hot cocoa. But she would join with mugs of hot chocolate. Not hot chocolate, hot cocoa specifically. I don't know why there's such a distinction for Paige, but there is. I don't know why.
You have also unlocked poetry reading, Ang.
Paige processes approximately 80% of it.
Depending on the poetry, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's just what I was thinking.
I meant like 80% of the words she knows the meaning. I don't know if she's actually gotten the meaning of them. What is my blanket?
The blue blanket.
So, if you all like, it is early enough in the day that if you all start now, you could probably make it finally to Deepfield. It would be close to lunchtime.
I say we go for it. Aang would also be insistent.
Yeah, Maddie wants to get the fuck out of here. But he did kind of ask D, like, hours ago what the fuck was going on here. And that was never brought up again.
You can ask them if you all agree to travel on the road. I will let you ask D in like the moving process, because I did not forget that was a thing for D to chat with you about.
I'm cool with walking and talking. I'm curious personally.
Fair enough. All hands for pack up camp and leave early.
Somebody would have to acquire the willow, because the willow is not giving any fucks about anybody else right now.
Don't worry, Paige will do it.
No more fucks to give.
With a mug of hot cocoa, we're fucking leaving. This place sucks. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Just very you like go and just like, because like everybody would know Willow's awake, I imagine, because like lantern on and everything in her tent. However, she has not made a noise, has not emerged. You just like try and open the flap, and she looks more of a mess than you've seen her, which is saying something considering you've seen her in like bug guts up to her elbows. But she's always kind of pressed and prim to some extent, like hair tied up, like, you know, very carefully rolled sleeves. You could tell she has woke up and has been awake and has not bothered to fuss about herself. Just hunched over a notepad.
Everyone is fucking losing it. We need to leave. That's Paige's response. She's like, okay. You need to be a person. You need to get up and drink something. Get up and stretch. You look like you haven't moved in fucking hours. I imagine it's probably like that. But like, I don't know, quiet. And in French, because she knows Willow can understand her.
It's like,
But things along those lines of like, oh, everyone is fucking losing it.
looks at Paige, leans, sees that it's dark out, looks at Paige again. I didn't think you woke up before the sun.
She imagine does kind of like gesture with her hands while she like just pushes a hot cocoa mug into Willow's hands. She's like, it's just against my Willow.
Certainly Pierre has not snored that badly.
No, I mean, not this time. But yeah, the blank, it's very good. And if you stand up, you know, you have ink on your shirt, like a lot of it.
I tend to do that.
But this one is usually it's like little like a, you know, willow smudges, the little willow things. This one is like a pool.
I'm just like, Willow just kind of like looks her up and down, sips on the cocoa like once or twice, and then goes back to what she's doing.
Willow.
Mm.
This is not a study snack. This is a thanks before you can pick up because we need to go. We are leaving.
Just we get attacked again.
What? Not exactly. It's not good. But it's you're perfectly safe physically.
Slowly look again. And looks back at her book. And will shift just a little bit to see the fire going and like the back of at least one of the two like weirdling adjacent. Tilt her head. And I didn't think Maddie got up before the sun either.
I think she fell out of the tree.
Well, if we're not under attack, I don't see why we are so desperate to get on. I am rather busy.
Then I can see you've written so many things. Lots of words. But we have a mission to do. We're going to get early. We're going to get away from this place because I don't like it. It's not good. It's the place is bad.
Just get leveled with this like slight squint, and then you realize she also has not put on her glasses. So to Willow, Paige is just kind of vaguely blurry pink thing.
Paige, I'd like to ask you, Joe, if you would allow this. Can Paige cast Distortion Lens?
Sure.
It's a cantrip. It's the one that like increases the
Are
range
you-
and makes things clearer.
Are you trying to distortion lens a set of glasses for Willow to see you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
His page just suddenly just becomes super clear.
You see, like, goes from squint to, like, wide-eye to, like, 50 blinks in, like, 2 seconds. To squint again. I don't think that I just healed miraculously, so are you doing this?
Yes.
And Willow just kind of, like, goes from looking at Paige to kind of looking around her tent.
Sorry, Sailor Zoomy time.
Hi, Sailor. How much of Willow's dream has Willow managed to transcribe with the help of the other two?
With the help of Summer and Winter, you were able to gather about 80% of it, which is basically the high points. The high points of, like, you know, you met other willows. Other willows had different memories, but some had the same or similar memories. There was one willow who stood out, who was like even weirder than the one that you know as the inner odd. But you're not able to get like all of the different all of the nuances that were the particular differences between every version of yourself. But like there were, you also, I will say, you with an 80% you could get the names that were listed, all of the names that the one hired willow recalled, as well as like the idea of, or the knowledge of, like, that willow apparently has tried before, or at least implied to have tried before, discouraging other willows from taking a course of action that led to going to the tree. But it never worked. And so they have since resigned themselves to it.
Willow just kind of like looks around the tent like once or twice, just like testing out the like whatever the fuck Paige has just done to her. Looks back at Paige.
20/20 vision. Congratulations.
Not going to leave me alone, are you?
No.
Tell me, Pierre has never suggested that he can do. And she just kind of like lifts a hand that still has like a pin in it, like pinched between like laced between a couple fingers, but still manages to like wiggle the rest of her fingers in the vague like magic gesture.
Paige kind of lets out like a laugh.
Okay, I have waited. I'm sorry to interrupt this. Piper,
Okay,
I keep
okay.
having to server mute you because your game is coming through. Can you mute yourself, please? Continue, Amy.
Paige just lets out a laugh as she no, he's not like us. This is just me.
There's like a little weird twist of her lips at that. Like, okay, one of them did say that, like, because I think that would be one of the things that would, like, stand out to her since she just found out, like, officially about Paige.
Mm-hmm.
Of, like, oh, one of them said Pierre. And she just kind of, like, makes a little bit of a face, looks down at her book,
What
flips
is
a
the face?
page. I don't think you'd believe me if I told you.
It's just been a very interesting night. I think I'd believe anything.
Even if I told you there was another willow that knew a magic Pierre.
Magic? Yeah.
And a page that had none.
And the fish had none. Wait. Paige is
See?
gonna come closer. Show me Jean-Pierre.
Jean-Pierre.
She nods. As a willow. She. Jean-Pierre.
Well, she just said Pierre, so I'm not quite sure.
Paige kind of scratches her head. So, I'm a fish, and I take after my grandfather, Jean-Pierre. In a lot of ways.
Willow just lifts her hand again and does the wiggle fingers.
Paige does the wiggle finger.
Perhaps. And Will looks back at the book again. Just kind of sighs, slowly closes it. Well, maybe one day I will be able to see if it is indeed a Jean-Pierre that they're talking about.
Maybe? But for now, we need to pack up and. I don't need to be here anymore. Just stop it. Just pack up and go. Stop making progress. I think Maggie has the thing that looks like paste.
The thing that looks like...
And no, the squishy is it's just very gross.
Yeah, I'm hoping whatever you're describing is indeed edible.
I mean, she's eating it, so.
That's not saying a lot.
But she likes things that taste good. So it has to taste at least a little bit good. It's you know.
I also think that she would eat most things,
But
if needed.
I think Maddie has at least some taste. You know, she's nice. She likes the things, the good things. So I would think that she doesn't like the bad things.
I'm a little
Hurry up,
confused
the
how-
oatmeal's getting cold.
Just leans around Paige again, looks out the tent.
Pierre's eating oatmeal.
You are awfully loud and awake for it to still be dark, Madigan.
She just shrugs. I'm full of surprises.
And grumpiness, apparently. Willow just sighs, take another long sip of the hot cocoa. Fine, I will finish what I am doing for now.
Okay, so we're going to go. We're going to go and eat the meal of the oats. It's the crust paste, and going to make sure you put the book away. No more.
Willow just looks at her. It's like, it's hard to read. A little bit of like, I'm just like, don't bother me about it. I am doing it. And a little bit of like, I'd like to see you stop me if I really wanted to.
Paige has put back on her hat. She will help Willow gather her shit. Because the faster Willow gathers her shit, the faster we can fucking get the fuck out of here.
Soon as they finish up like the initial bundling and head towards the fire for oatmeal, Willow, very calm, kind of walking behind Paige, looks at Paige, looks at Madigan, looks at Aang, looks back at Paige. Well, Paige is convinced that this place is, I'm assuming, cursed or something. And with your grumpiness, I'm assuming you think so too, Madigan.
I don't know about first, but I don't like it here. And
It's
you...
not.
Oh, sorry.
Paige is just hype manning Maddie, honestly. She's just agreeing with Maddie saying.
Maddie turns to Dee, pointing a clawed finger.
Oh, God.
And you said you'd explain things once we got here.
He looks left and right, and then shrugs and just goes, "You went to sleep.
We
Who
didn't
am
go
I
straight
to
to bed.
interrupt your beauty sleep? Oh, well. Pardon my unobtrusive nature."
Maddie just scoffs.
If you'd like, I can explain, probably, what you may have experienced, because it seems like at least one of you had a pretty upsetting dream. I'd wager that at least one more, if not all of you, had some pretty upsetting dreams.
And what makes you think that?
Well, the creatures, those people, and he gestures to the body he is wearing, they're not just average creatures anymore. They were citizens of a city. I could tell you a bit about their life before they went into the woods, but that's more boring. The juicy stuff is what happens once they went into the wood. How long do you want this to take? And he starts to examine his nails.
Maddie makes the motion of the, like when you move your hand in a circle, like a go on, keep going, eat it up.
Imagine while this is happening, Willow has poured themselves a bowl of oatmeal, pauses, looks at Dee, looks at her bowl, looks back at Dee. Just a quick question. Do you eat normal food?
Oh, I am flattered that you offered a bowl of your oatmeal. Neither of these two offered any. And he gestures to Maddie and Pierre. And Pierre also looks pretty bedraggled and tired, like rings under the eyes, kind of exhausted, and he just like, But he looks to you, Willow, and just goes, "But to answer your question, no. I mean, I could, and I sometimes do to be polite, but I don't get anything from it.
And Willow
Aside from the satisfaction of whatever happiness it might give to the person who made it."
Willow just nods and sits down to eat.
But he looks back to you, Maddie, and just goes, "The yada yada of it," and he does the hand over hand gesture, "is that these people, they were, the closest word you have in your language is possessed. They were possessed by the ruin. It is an old thing, an angry thing. And its hatred runs deep. very, very deep. So deep, in fact, it can corrupt the living. And he gestures to the camp and to his own body. Thus, you have these almost feral people, ravagers. They seek to please the ruin, or they are so overcome with madness and malice and hatred that they just lose themselves to it, and there's nothing up here anymore. And he points to his own head, and they just, well, he pantomimes like claw fingers and an open mouth. But
So,
these creatures are so filled with hatred and malice and rage and whatever that even their blood can taint you. Not enough to turn you into one of them, not unless you're drenching yourself in the stuff day after day, but enough that it might give you bad dreams or upset your tummy. He pats his tummy.
The ruin, you say?
He nods. The ruin, the lord of the sorrow hunt, god of the ravagers, lord of sorrow.
Ah, so a being and not a place then.
Well, that's the funny part. It was a being. And now it's more of a place and a feeling. There's supposedly a sort of like a temple. It's not closed in and constructed, but there's a place where the ruin supposedly died. And where it died, its hatred stained the earth. And that is where the most vile ravagers congregate to, well, he does a pelvic thrust. And whatever else they feel compelled to do from their condition, you could call it.
A temple, you say?
He does air quotes with his fingers. Loosely.
Hmm.
If you're curious, the people here, and he points to himself again and to the camp, at least as far as this one was aware, they didn't know whether or not the ruin truly died. Only that they loved him, them, it. The hatred was really transcendent in terms of its form. It looked like a human man, but, well, how much of a human man can you be if you are so filled with vile hatred that you effectively become a god of some kind?
So, the fact that we, well, got a little messy in the fight before, and then settled here where they were staying for an extended period, you say addled our brains a bit.
He shrugs. More or less. And if I know you, and he points to you, Willow, you and your little INC penchant, you want to collect some of that delightful little hasty blood, don't you?
Willow kind of stares for a second, and then there's like a one-shouldered shrug. Well, I should have thought of that back at the battlefield, but I'm not going back there.
Unfortunately, this guy, and he taps to his chest, doesn't have any blood of his own left. Otherwise, I'd offer it up.
Well, I can still collect a little bit of your blood.
You can collect other things if you want. And he winks.
Just roll of the eyes.
Speaking of collecting, you still have that other form, right?
He raises an eyebrow. Oh, the woman? I do. It's hard to get rid of. Been attached to it for longer than I've been attached to any other skin. So it feels almost like losing part of myself. He snorts.
Perfect. Maybe you should go back to it then.
He raises an eyebrow like, what? Why?
Does it matter why?
A little. Is it an order?
Will admit I'm a little curious as to your reasoning as well.
I don't know. I just this form you're taking it weird. Makes me uncomfortable. At least the other one looked friendly. She just kind of shrugs.
Sympathize. This form is a bit abrasive. It's certainly more masculine than the previous one. Is there anything in particular that upsets you about this form that I could maybe change? And he swings his hips back and forth.
Ugh. She just kind of groans. I'm just saying, the other one seemed nicer, and I feel it could blend better once you fix it up.
Like, you just, as soon as you say blend in better, you just get this like little from Willow. Like, not so much.
Once you fix it up.
He taps his chin and goes, I could fix it. It's not a lot of work to do, but it gives me something to do on the road. Other than pester you all, which is fun.
Perfect.
He
It's a project.
He looks at his arms and his chest and legs appraisingly and just goes, I have probably enough real estate to make it work. If it makes you more comfortable, I would be more than happy to oblige. I'm nothing if not considerate.
Right.
He smiles, and it is like in this form in particular, it is a greasy smile. It is not. It feels way worse. It's the same sort of conniving smile energy, but it just feels worse in this one. He looks over to Pierre, who has a spoonful of oatmeal in his mouth. He just goes, looks like you're going back to being the only sausage man here. He examines his nails and turns around and starts to leave.
Maddie goes back to eating her oatmeal.
Willow just sitting there, munching on her own oatmeal, kind of eyeing Maddie, kind of tilt her head towards Paige and Pierre, and in French, just very calmly, well, she's awake and extremely grumpy. Did she hit her head?
Well, she did fall out of a tree. I don't think I'd be happy if I fell out of a tree.
Pierre is looking at the oatmeal and sets it down and just sighs and says, I don't want to eat oatmeal right now.
That's because it's gross. You need to put a lot of sugar on it. Look, I have some extra ones I packed.
No, it's because the skin thing talked about dicks.
You were actually listening to him? I've tuned him out so much.
How do you tune him out?
Because I want to.
Just crosses his arms.
Knowing her predilections, probably because she has practice.
He looks huffy and offended at you, Willow, at the insinuation. And he picks up his oatmeal and continues eating it some.
Willow just looks at him very calmly. Oh, and it's not just you. Can't tell me that she listens to her parents all that well either.
I am a good page. If anything, I ignore Henry the most.
So you admit to having practice.
Well, Henry's an ass. It's fine.
And Willow just, feeling like she has walked out of that argument ahead, looks towards Maddie. Did you hit your head on the way out of the tree?
No, not as far as I can tell. Kind of rubs the back of her head. Nope, no bumps.
Should I take a look?
Hand wave.
At least we now know that you truly are meant to be a canid of some sort. Perhaps don't fall asleep in trees again.
Well, I didn't plan on falling asleep in a tree. It kind of happened.
'Twas my fault.
I mean, it was no one's fault. It just happened.
Just kind of looks saying over head to toe for a second. Oh, it's going to be a long walk today, isn't it?
Pierre sighs and just goes, Isn't it a long walk every day? Why couldn't we get horses?
Do you truly want to see what happens to a horse in these woods?
He blinks for a second.
It's not pretty.
No, do not want to see what happens to a horse.
Okay, so no horses ever? Okay.
Not when we are going through the woods. Yeah, I mean, if we were on the road, it would be different, but in the woods, He looks over in the direction where Dee went and just goes, I think yeah, thing would want to eat it or turn into a horse or something.
Yeah, if she's able to turn into other animals, we truly are fucked, aren't we? But I think that's a little outside of at least her interests, if not her capabilities.
What would you even do if you were a horse? That's grass? It's a bird.
As you all finish your breakfast and your discussion of the merits of being a horse, you pack up right quick and you make your way the last stretch north. So, as you are going, I'm gonna see if I want to test a thing really quick, see if it works. We're gonna do survival. Prompt. Did it work? Find your way. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, okay. But I don't have a token, Joe. I don't got a token.
What? That's
I need a token.
That's
Give
fucking
me, give me a
annoying.
token. Give me a token.
All right, hold on. Here what we're gonna do.
Now it's telling me I have no movement, and
I got that too.
I
Yeah.
didn't do anything.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Didn't do anything.
Everything's
Joe.
Trust the
fine.
plan. Trust the plan. Trust the plan.
Trust the process.
Joe, it's doing weird shit.
It just worked.
Quiet. Everyone,
No.
everyone, shut up.
I refuse. You can't silence me.
I
There.
was good and silent when I was not involved. The mute button is off.
Now you should be able to clicky token and then clicky survival. Yeah.
Oh. Secret
Oh.
dice.
Yeah.
Are we
secret
all rolling,
checks.
or is just Kira rolling?
For people who are finding their way through the woods. Oh, for Kira, it's actually
It's diplomacy, isn't it? Or whatever.
knowledge Fey?
Okay. Yes. Let's
think.
should I
Lore.
Okay. How do I roll
Let me-
that?
There we
Okay,
go.
thank you.
Zoop.
I hope this one's better. Did it roll? There we go.
It did roll. There's a willow.
Oh god, Robot Joe.
Willow.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello.
Alright.
Welcome back.
It didn't roll my fate lore, did it?
It did not.
Okay. Gonna go ahead and click.
See, I don't like that I can't see what I rolled.
Same. I thought that everyone would see their rolls.
Joe,
Hmm.
it won't let me roll.
I don't know why it's not letting you roll.
I keep clicking and I don't get nothing.
You have the inherit selected, right?
I do. There's an orange box around inherit.
That's weird. Huh.
And as
Yeah.
a
fine.
gentle reminder of if we start running into anything that seems sus, Willow actively uses root reading and detect magic when she gets a little uncomfy.
What is root reading?
I can sense any. Hold on, let me
Uh-huh.
pull this up again. Da-
Ah, okay. So I can roll survival again.
Root
Weird.
reading. I can get a 30-foot emanation of any unnoticed medium or larger creature, their presence, and it doesn't matter if they are hidden.
Interesting. And it's a 30-foot emanation?
Yes.
That is really cool. Okay, so two things happen. First off, you
And I learn if any such
and-
creature has passed through the area in the last hour.
yes. So Aang, you go ahead and make me your Fey lore check. Ignore the prompt thing.
Okay, so I'm just rolling.
Yes, just do a cold roll. I was really checking to see if that prompt thing how it worked.
Okay.
There's little kinks to work out. But that's okay.
Joe, do I get to add my my bonus, perhaps? My
Yes.
origin story bonus? Okay.
You do get to add your origin story.
Let's see.
The inherit from the comics.
Yes, the inherit from the comics. I forgot what that bonus is, but I don't have a dialogue to use it, so I will just roll it.
There you go.
There we go. That's
Damn.
fine. I think it's a 2, so that would make it like a 27.
Yes. So easily you are able to navigate towards Deep Field and get the crew moving. As you are moving along, knowing that Willow would use root reading, Willow, you get a clear sense that there has been a creature navigating through the woods. Maybe not for you, but you can't gain its intent from this as far as I'm aware, but you can tell that there is a creature easily 30 feet or more in height walking through the woods. It does not leave tracks. Root reading in particular, I will give you this. You are able to glean that if you didn't know better, you would say that the trees are moving.
And it's like following us or like moving ahead of us or like just there?
Moving, it would not be ahead of you. It would be in the opposite direction you're going. So back the way you came. Because you guys are heading towards Deep Field, this tree or trees supposedly is moving downwards south. So it is moving away from the populated center.
We'll take the opportunity at some point in the walk, early on, to fucking cornering. Ooh, don't happen to know any walking trees in the area.
You do.
Does she? Oh, I do. I do.
There are 100% creatures in the wood that are either just straight up trees that move around or have trees growing in them that move around, and they range anywhere from full on tree size, like upwards of 60 feet, to like anywhere from 20 to 60 feet in a vertical height.
Ingharid, at this question, doesn't seem very surprised then. Oh, yes. This creature is, with trees, a great friend. There are many such creatures throughout the woods that fit that description. Ambling trees, creatures with them growing inside, all
Any
manner of
that
things.
any that would have come by. Blah, 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 blah.
It's okay, my accent's wandering too.
Mhm.
It's fine. It's fine.
Any that would have come by last night.
I'm guessing the answer here, Joe, is I don't know. That's tree business, but
It's so Ang. Well, hold on, let me.
Angharad just thinks for a moment. I suppose there might be reason. sometimes when things that belong to such creatures go missing, they can get quite protective. Perhaps they've lost something.
Willow just makes a little bit of a face, kind of glances back in the direction that she like vibed this thing walking. I guess we should count ourselves lucky that he decided we were not worth it.
Indeed, quite blessed. It will be a very blessed day.
A blessed day indeed. And after much walking, one of you, I nominate a single one of you to roll me a d20. Higher is better.
Z, roll something. Use your physical dice. Use your physical dice.
That is a 17.
That's pretty good.
17. A 17 is exactly the DC. 17 to 20.
Ay.
So with a 17, let me go here. It is ooh, it's catching. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. You all trek through the woods, and as you peel through the last, like, rough hedgings and underbrush of the forest, you break through to see the quaint little village of Deepfield, well hidden deep within the heart of the woods, protected on all sides by the dark forest. And this is where you will be reconvening with Hawk on your supposedly reconvening with Hawk on your trek to find this girl. So it's quite late, but I think this is just about a perfect ending point.